From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Daryl Clark.
And I'm Katie Looper, sitting in for Stephanie Woodard.
Our top story, a drawn-out standoff involving Fairbanks police officers and a man wanted for outstanding felony warrants eventually ended with an arrest.
Ryan Grimes has all the details on what took place last night.
Had two outstanding $20,000 bail warrants, one for vehicle theft and another for dangerous drugs.
Fairbanks police were after 38-year-old Brandon Barron. Officers found him at a house belonging to an acquaintance near the intersection of 24th Avenue and Gillum Way at about 7 o'clock last night. Officers were seen by Barron before they could arrest him swiftly.
An officer saw him exit the front door, then run back inside, try to flee from the officers. While we were outside, he also made an anonymous call that there was another shooting in a different part of town to try to draw us away.
The tactic did not work. Officers locked down the neighborhood and sent the Fairbanks tactical team to handle the standoff.
When we have somebody that has warrants of this type and is known to have been armed in the past and may be armed at this time, then we're going to take whatever measures we can in order to keep everybody safe. And so we bring in the tactical unit, we bring in negotiators to attempt contact and to talk them out.
The tactical team even brought in a robot to find and communicate with Barron, but they had no luck. The team decided to move in.
Throughout, 4 or 5 hours of negotiations and different scenarios that we were trying to get him to come out, he ended up coming out and running out the back door.
Barron was immediately chased down and placed under custody. No one was injured during the standoff. Deputy Chief Jukes says the community was very supportive of officers throughout the arrest.
We really appreciate that. We know that the relationships between the police and the public in some places that we see on the news aren't very good. Hopefully we did everything right and the public's happy with the way we did things.
Barron was transported to Fairbanks Correctional Center and remanded on his 2 warrants. He currently faces additional charges for making a false report and 2 counts of violating conditions of release. His next hearing is scheduled tomorrow in Superior Court. This is Ryan Grimes reporting.
The Fairbanks City Council will hear a resolution to apply for funding from the Office of Community-Oriented Police Services, or COPS, next Monday. The $75,000 federal grant would go in support of the Community Policing Development Program. The funds would enhance community policing efforts in South Fairbanks, the scene of last night's standoff. Fairbanks Mayor John Eberhardt is concerned about the future availability of these dollars. The U.S. House Appropriations Committee stripped 2016 funding for COPS hiring grants. The funding bill was left as unfinished business on the House floor today. If passed, the bill will then move through the U.S. Senate. Eberhardt sent a letter requesting continued funding of COPS to U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski, who sits on the Senate CJS Appropriations Subcommittee. He says the response from her office was positive. The city has received over $7 million in COPS grants over the years. In addition to essential equipment, the funds have been used to keep Fairbanks schools safe.
Some of the biggest parts were for our school resource officers. The school district did not continue funding the school resource officers. We had one at West Valley and one at Lathrop. So as of now, that's gone away.
We built our emergency communication center from a $1 million grant way back on the COPS grant, and on and on and on. So I really hate.
An award-winning Christian band will be making a stop in the Golden Heart City during their Alaska tour. The Katinas is a 5-brother band influenced by gospel and contemporary musical styling intertwined with Polynesian harmonies. The musicians will be performing tomorrow evening at 7 in the Lily of the Valley Church of God in Christ located on South Barnett Street. The brothers are originally from Samoa and have since traveled around the world for 25 years performing original pieces along with new spins on popular music. The event coordinator says former Fort Wainwright soldier and America's Got Talent finalist Paul Letty will be a special guest performer as well.
I feel so blessed, and it's a blessing for the community of Fairbanks and of course Fort Wainwright. Mainly they sing more gospel, but one of their CD that just came out last year is called The Love Chapter, which is my favorite. It's have all variety of the old jams, you know, like the old school, and some of the songs that was sang by the Bee Gees.
And when we come back, the Geophysical Institute up at the University of Alaska is offering tours to the public. We'll tell you what you can look forward to.
In our weekly military report, the Alaska National Guard has a new commander. Monty Bowen will introduce you to her. Stay with us. And welcome back. The Geophysical Institute at UAF held its first public tour of the season today. Visitors were able to explore the various departments of the research facility and listen to experts explain the science behind their day-to-day jobs. Members of the Institute study and monitor various processes of the Earth, including auroras, earthquakes, volcanic activity, and changes in permafrost levels. The guided trip is free and meets at the LV building every Wednesday at 1 through the end of August. The Geophysical Institute is also hosting summer visits to its Poker Flat research range on Thursdays. Tour leader Kaz Alvarez says showing the work of the Institute to the public is important because the research deeply impacts their lives.
It's just important for them to know what's happening in this big, tall building, and knowing that how what's happening here impacts them. People live where there are earthquakes, where there are volcano eruptions, where their cars are going to get ruined by ash falling in their town. And we want them to know about what we're doing to help provide solutions for them.
Yesterday, we shared with you the importance of CPR. Tonight, as CPR and AED Awareness Week continues, we look at the life-saving potential of the AED system. J.R. Lewis reports.
While CPR is absolutely essential in preserving the life of someone who has suffered sudden cardiac arrest, there are times when the victim's heart may need more than just compressions. It may need electrical stimulation to correct or restore the regular rhythm. This is where the automatic external defibrillator, or AED, comes into play. According to the American Heart Association, an AED is a lightweight portable device that delivers an electric shock through the chest to the heart. The shock can stop an irregular rhythm and allow a normal rhythm to resume in a heart in sudden cardiac arrest. Instructions from the AED guide the user through the process. A built-in computer checks a victim's heart rhythm through adhesive electrodes. The computer calculates whether defibrillation is needed. If it is, a recorded voice tells the rescuer to press the shock button on the AED.
Shock advised.
I'm clear, you're clear, we're all clear.
Shock delivered.
This shock momentarily stuns the heart and stops all activity. It gives the heart the chance to resume beating effectively. AEDs make it possible for more people to respond to a medical emergency where defibrillation is required. More information on AEDs and CPR can be found on the American Heart Association website at heart.org. Reporting in recognition of CPR and AED Awareness Week, I'm J.R. Lewis.
The Alaska National Guard officially welcomed its new commander during a change of command ceremony in Anchorage on May 26th. Monty Bowen has details now in this week's military report.
Governor Walker will then pass the flag to Brigadier General Alaska Hummel, entrusting her with the responsibility of the command.
Brigadier General Lori Hummel, Adjutant General of the Alaska National Guard and Commissioner of the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, accepted the passing of the colors from retired Brigadier General Leon Bridges.
We will communicate and collaborate constantly and expect leaders at all levels to do the same. I will set high standards for you, communicate them clearly, and expect you to meet them.
Hummel, a 1982 West Point graduate in its third class that accepted females, retired from the active duty Army in 2012 after serving 30 years as a military intelligence officer. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
That's good stuff to know, and welcome Katie officially.
Thank you.
I know that you're just subbing in for Stephanie Woodard, but you know, we see you all the time on Saturdays.
Yeah, and it's great.
Oh,
I like being
fantastic.
here.
Good,
nice
good.
to be here during the week.
Nice to have you. And look, we're color coordinated too. So.
Oh yeah, that wasn't actually planned.
No, did it on purpose. All right, Joe Cook is next with sports, and he brings us a look into a couple of local baseball teams who will try to bring back a state title this weekend.
Plus highlights from a signature interior running event. Stay with us.
Welcome back Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your local Wednesday Sportscast. Today, Alaska Nannox women's basketball head coach Cody Bench announced the newest addition to her staff. Brett Sawyer is the new assistant coach for the women's team. Sawyer comes in from Snow College, a junior college in Ephraim, Utah. He helped Snow to a 21-8 record this past season, and they were ranked as high as 12th nationally in the NJCAA. He also served as head coach for the Utah Diamondbacks AAU team, who won a tournament championship back in 2013. Sawyer joins a NANET program that had its best season in a decade with a 14-14 record. Now, 2 local baseball teams are on their way to Anchorage for the state baseball tournament. Lathrop and West Valley will represent the MAC Conference in their first round games on Thursday. Here's more from the teams on their state title hopes.
The Mid-Alaska Conference's top 2 teams got in their last practices this week before the state tournament. Thursday at 10 a.m., the 4-time MAC champion Lathrop Malamutes will face Juneau Douglas, a team they beat 5-2 in last year's consolation game on their way to a 4th-place finish. Lathrop lost to Colony by a run in last year's first-round matchup. Their first game this year could be the start of a deep postseason run from a promising Lathrop squad that ran the table in conference play, the only team in the state to do so.
We know what to expect at state now, since we were undefeated last year as well in conference, and we know that the next team we're going to play is not going to be as easy as it has been, and that we just need to make sure that we keep everything simple and just play our game.
And that's our biggest strength right now, is our cohesiveness and our aggressiveness on the field. We're always looking to take an extra base, steal a base, whatever we can do to take up an extra 90.
On the other side of the bracket, the MAC's 2 seed, the West Valley Wolfpack, will have their hands full. They will go up against the Ketchikan Kings on Thursday at 1 o'clock. The Southeast Conference champions are led by Nathan Bonk, a 6'5" left-handed pitcher who was the Alaska Gatorade Player of the Year. The Wolfpack will bring their 10 best players, and one senior feels the first inning will be key in pulling off the upset.
Winning the first inning, it's hard to come back. I play from behind, but if we get ahead real quick, it's better to stay ahead than try to come back from behind.
It's baseball, and on any given day, anybody can win. And so we know what we're up against. We don't have any false illusions, and we're going to go out there and give everything we got because we got nothing to lose.
The state baseball tournament is in Anchorage at Mulcahy Stadium. We'll have results on Lathrop and West Valley throughout the week. Joe Cook reporting.
And despite today's nasty weather, it's still summertime. That means the running season is about to get going this month. In fact, Tuesday night at the base of Moose Mountain was a masochism on Moose Mountain, the second race in the Northern Trail Series. This run has 1 1/4 mile ascent and a 2 3/4 mile descent. A nice field of running enthusiasts headed up Moose Mountain in the June sun. And the first one coming barreling down the mountain was Chris Eversman. He crossed the finish line in 34 minutes, 7 seconds for the overall title. Following him was Devin McDowell in 35:21, Ted Alder in 36:27. Now the women's title went to the always humble Melissa Lewis with a time of 38 minutes, 14 seconds. Masochism means the enjoyment of pain. Eversman enjoyed that and the win.
It's a beautiful race. I don't find myself out here to run these trails enough, so this is really a great opportunity to get up there. Very much in the woods. Very steep though too, so not to be taken lightly. We have a fantastic club here. We have a fantastic community of runners. I can't thank Dan and everybody who hosted the race enough. Erica, all those folks, they did a fantastic job, just like every other race I've ever done here. I've been running in this community for almost my entire life, so it's always an honor to come out here and run a really nice race.
The Alaska Gold Panthers summer baseball season is 9 days away, with opening day on Friday, June 12th. The Panthers will start on the road against the Peninsula Oilers for a 3-game weekend series on the 12th. The first home game is against the Chugach Chinooks on Tuesday, June 16th at Grouda Memorial Park. Sunday night, June 21st, is the 110th edition of the historic Midnight Sun Game. The Seattle Studs will be the opponent this year. Now, last season, the Panthers went 21-8 in the regular season and swept the Matsu Miners in the ABL Championship Series for back-to-back league titles. Alaska has had a different manager the past 2 years. This year, Jeff Stevens, an assistant coach from Sierra College near Sacramento, will be their manager this year. The roster is all new. Former Monroe Ram and the 2014 Alaska Gatorade Player of the Year, Scooter Bynum, is the only returner on the roster. Bynum finished his first year at Arizona Western College, finishing third on the team with 38 RBIs and was fourth in batting average and on-base percentage. And that wraps up sports for tonight. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into our Wednesday night edition of the Fbx Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about weather. And we got rain today. We needed it in the worst way, so it helps our fire hazard situation. be reduced considerably, and it helps the grass and everything else. So it was kind of nice to see that. We're still looking for a good weekend. We'll tell you about that in just a little bit. Our photograph night sent in by Ralph Weesey, and he was a late rainbow near Salsha last night, about 11:40, he said. And he was able to capture this beautiful rainbow here, even a double rainbow, as you can see on the outside there. That's a nice shot. And as always, if you have a photograph you want to share, well, by all means, send it to photos@ktvf11.com, and we'll share it with the rest of the audience. Here's your numbers right now. Today's high, 48 degrees, which it is currently. The low last night was 40 degrees. Our record high, 86 in 1958, down to freezing in 1931. Sunrise and sunset, about 20 hours and 43 minutes of daylight. That's a gain of 6 minutes from yesterday. Here's your satellite and radar. You can see a lot of moisture moving across the state, especially across the Anchorage Bowl and then moving through the passes into the Fairbanks area. And we're looking at a little more southerly flow picking up, which means warmer temperatures returning, and also the moisture will be cutting off, so our shower opportunity will be less than it was today. Now, as far as what's going on across the rest of the state, well, here's what it looks like. As you can see, showers moving across Juneau and Ketchikan. A little rain shower activity around the Anchorage Bowl, 61 degrees there. A little cooler around Kodiak, 51. Cloudy skies along the Aleutian chain. Up and down the west coast, partly cloudy to clear skies. Barrow, cloudy and 30. And Fort Yukon, kind of chilly, 48 degrees. Now, before we go to the national map, I want to show you something that was shared with us today, going across all the Facebooks. And it was our interesting phenomena that doesn't happen very often here, but somebody captured a dust devil on South Cushman last night. This wasn't just your normal dust devil. This was a pretty good sized one, moving along at a pretty good clip, and look how high up it went to the sky. That was pretty impressive. Again, we appreciate all that, and anytime you see something like that, don't be hesitant to send it to our offices here, and we'll be sure and share it with the rest of the audience. Now, speaking of the national forecast, here's what it looks like. As you can see, it's warming up over Seattle, 68 degrees. They're really cooking around Phoenix, 102 degrees. Finally, some showers returning to Southern California. They need that in the worst way for the drought there. It looks like things are drying out across the Central Plains, although there are some storms around the Denver area this evening as we speak. And over the Northeast, a little shower activity too. Now, on the satellite and radar, you can see where everything's kind of coming together. A little bit of activity moving across the eastern side of the country. There's the storms moving over the Denver area, developing in the afternoon and moving across the Central Plains. And out to the west, we finally have some moisture moving ashore in the southwest, bringing some much needed rain to those folks there. All right, back to what's going to be happening in the big scale is a huge hurricane. Hurricane Blanca is expected to be a Category 5 and moving up by Monday of next week to near Cabo San Lucas. So you folks that have residences, timeshares there, you might want to keep an eye on that. This is going to be winds of close to 150 miles an hour when it moves ashore, and over 200 miles an hour, or close to 200 miles an hour, out in the Pacific Ocean. So quite an interesting effect there going on. As far as later on this weekend, you can see the jet stream taking a big dive down to the south. That's good for the showers over the southwest, while hot temperatures return to the central and southern plains. And over the northeast, it looks pretty good too. All right, back to Alaska for tomorrow. The northern sections, partly cloudy skies in Barrow. Lots of sunshine for Nome, and showers are likely in the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, we'll have scattered clouds out a little bit. Rain showers for Fairbanks and Healy, mainly hit and miss thing, and isolated showers also at Delta Junction. While over southeast Alaska, more rain expected. Periods of rain in Juneau and Ketchikan, and over the southwest part of the state, once again a mixed bag of weather there too. Rain showers at Cold Bay and Bethel, and rain expected in Kodiak. And over the south central sections around the Anchorage Bowl, widespread rain for Anchorage, Homer, and Valdez. Okay, so here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Looks like there'll be showers off and on throughout the night. 45 degrees for the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast calling for warmer with more showers possible by afternoon. 67 degrees though, warming up considerably than what it was for today, that's for sure. And as far as the extended forecast, trying to get near that 70-degree mark, but temperatures will be right near 70 degrees all the way through the weekend. And we'll have some showers on Friday, but then Saturday and Sunday don't look too bad. Maybe some showers returning again by Monday and Tuesday. But all in all, not too bad, and it's good to see that rain because, like I said, it really lessens the fire hazard situation going on.
Yeah, but
I'm not used to seeing you here. I'm used to seeing you on the weekends.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that that dust devil was crazy.
That was pretty cool.
How does that happen, Mike?
It usually is when you have a lot of hot temperatures, because you have the contrast in the hot temperatures and a little bit of a pocket of cool air, and it helps to get the the air moving around.
Yeah,
but
it was going so high in the sky.
That was really bizarre. I was really amazed
Yeah,
to see that one.
That was very interesting, very interesting. All right, thank you, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Now tonight on NBC Nightly News, the high cost of care is driving cancer patients into bankruptcy. That's up next with Lester Holt.
And you can join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
Very well. From all of us here at the News Center, have a great night.
Night.